What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Phillies Sports History for May 24th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Saturday edition of the podcast. Another good win for the Phils last night, 4-3. Kind of a snooze fest. Wheeler was outstanding, 6 2/3. Got 8 Ks, though. It was 1-0 all the way to the top of the ninth when the Phils got 3, and they needed every single one of them as Jordan Romano was not good last night, giving up 3 runs. The Phils hang on for the 4-3 win. 8 in a row now. Sometimes I guess you'll have this. I don't want to jump off the deep end yet with Romano. It was a one-off thing. He had been pitching well. Like to see how he bounces back. But they hung on to win 8 in a row. Still in first place. And again, they're taking care of business. You can only play who's in front of you, and they're getting the job done. So we'll take it. Braves next week should be a good measuring stick for the Phils. Kind of almost hope they lose one here in Sacramento playing the A's, so that way they're not coming in winning 11 in a row or 10 in a row coming into the Braves series. But we'll see. I mean, who cares if they can still take 2 out of 3 from the Braves. But they're back at it tonight with a chance to win another series. Christopher Sanchez on the mound for the Phils. A couple interesting things from yesterday. I saw an article in the Inquirer talking about the possibility of Kyle Schwarber getting to 500 home runs. I don't think he's going to get there, but they laid out a very compelling case of how he could, being that he's a DH, and his numbers right now, he's at the same age that David Ortiz was, kind of like the comparable sort of player. At the same age, he has like 20 more home runs in forget how many hundreds of at-bats less. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. You'd have to play till he's about 38, 39, which again is a DH. I don't think he's going to get there, but it's an interesting scenario. And then, of course, lots of talk yesterday about the possibility of bringing Rhys Hoskins back. Not opposed to it at all. He has got an expiring contract with the Brewers. They're kind of scuffling around 500, so it's still way early. They could very easily get hot and make a run here. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. Slide Harper back into the outfield, put Kepler on the bench, and then put Rhys at first. I wouldn't be, I don't know what you would do, Castellanos or Harper in left, right, wherever. But Harper did say he'd be open to it, and I would not be opposed at all to bringing in Rhys Hoskins. I do think they need more help than just another bat. But we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously the bullpen is a bigger priority right now, but I would not be opposed to it. But that is today's question of the day. Would you be opposed to bringing Rhys Hoskins back? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. So a lot of people felt very strongly both ways on this, saying, yeah, he should have never left in the first place. And then those saying, no, he was inconsistent, this, that, and the other. Would bring some vibes back to that clubhouse. Maybe it's not a bad idea. But what do you think? Should the Phillies explore bringing Rhys Hoskins back? Let me know on the Back to the Future voice and text line, 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. And then let's recap yesterday's question of the day. I asked you, in honor of our Fridays with AI, where I ran an alternate reality where the A's stayed in Philadelphia. If you haven't checked that out yet, the video of just the Fridays with AI is posted on my the YouTube page. Or you can go back and just listen to yesterday's episode. Fridays are always a big episode here. But I asked, if you could bring back one former pro team from Philadelphia's past, who would it be? 50-50 split between the A's and the Warriors. Not really a surprise there at all. Lots of people who have Sixers fatigue were all about bringing the Warriors back. But if the Warriors never left, the Sixers would have never come here. So you can look at it that way too. But thank you as always for participating in the question of the day. Today's question, are you opposed or should the Phillies explore bringing back Rhys Hoskins? I say why not? If the price is right, see what you can do. But let me know your thoughts on that. So more on the Fridays with AI. Definitely was one of my more fun ones I've done. Shout out to my friend Lenny Wagner, who pointed out, and he has done a ton of research with the A's during the Walter French book. But when the A's did move from Philly because they were sold to the guy who owned Yankee Stadium, he pointed out that AI did have it right, that they would struggle there, or they wouldn't have struggled as much as they did in real life, because of the partnership, it was really shady. There were a lot of trades that benefited the Yankees and didn't really do much for the Kansas City A's. So there was definitely a little bit of a conflict of interest there that wouldn't have happened if the A's would have stayed. And as we know, AI did say the A's would have gone to 4 World Series in the 60s, winning 2 of them, which maybe if they kept some of those players, they would have been able to overtake the Yankees. So thank you, Lenny, for pointing that out. And maybe AI got this one right. But again, go back, check it out if you haven't. Yesterday's Fridays with AI, an alternate reality where the A's never left Philly. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mott on Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, @PhillyJimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott, and continue to spread the word as we grow this thing. I always say, if you're interested in this, some way in your network, somebody else would enjoy it too. Check out Lotwin.com for your custom 3D hype chains. These things are amazing. Great. So many different uses for them. Little league, swimming, fantasy football, just to be annoying around the house. These things are great. They make good gag gifts for the people in the office, but the kids really like them. So I would really could see like the home run chain on the sidelines, and like even the youngest rec leagues now, they're playing walk-up music and things like that. So why not get your team a custom 3D hype chain from Lotwin? Use the promo code CCCPOD for 10% off your order. But these things are awesome. Go to Lotwin.com for your 3D custom hype chains. Knicks lost last night. There's that. They're down 2-0 going back to Indiana, losing both games at home. Something tells me they're going to at least win one of these games in Indiana. But good to see the Knicks doing so well. Programming note, we will start the greatest seasons in Philly sports history tournament on June 3rd. May 31st, I'll give you kind of the rundown and explain the kind of setting the brackets now. There's definitely going to be some controversy with this, as there always is, but I'll give you my rationale, my reasoning for seeding these seasons where they were. And then on the 1st and 2nd, I'll reveal half the brackets each day. And then we'll get right into it June 3rd. It'll run through the end of July. Like I said before, we've done the Lovable Losers tournament, where the 2000-2001 Sixers are Philly's most lovable losers, teams that did not get the job done. And I incorrectly said it was Chocolate Thunder. Chocolate Thunder should have won, but as voted on by you, the fans, Dr. J won our Ultimate Philly Sports Nickname tournament last year. Hard to argue that one, though, too. So stay tuned for that. All of that starts getting kicked off. Our coverage starts within a week on May 31st. Union in action tonight at Subaru Park to take on Miami. Messi, as of this morning, looks like he's going to be in the starting lineup, making my daughter ecstatic as she's in the process of writing a fact book about Messi, so she wants to take a notebook and take notes on what she sees. I kind of love it. But Union, Miami tonight at Subaru Park. Messi will be playing. As of right now, it looks like he's in the starting lineup, so looking forward to that. Be sure to check out my friends at the Clashing Conferences podcast. Go to clashingconferences.com for details on what they have to offer, how you can get involved. Check out their podcasts as well. 2 new ones dropped on Thursday and Friday of this week. Great group of guys. Always looking to expand the network and the membership group. So if you want to be a member, go to clashingconferences.com. See what they have to offer, how you can get involved. You can start off as small or as big as you want. They have all the details there. And then if you do need media services for anything, not necessarily just podcasting, they can help you out there as well. Go to clashingconferences.com for details on what they offer and how you can get your name out there and involved. And then, of course, Philly Goat. Go. Still time to celebrate the tush push. Get your stuff ready for summer. The slides, much to my kids' dismay, are not here today. I got the information. They're being delivered on Tuesday. They wanted them for the weekend, but they are on their way. Very quick shipping and turnaround. Get the slides, tush push stuff. Get a cooler for the beach. They got you covered. So go to Philly Goat, look through their website, see what they got. Trust me, just scroll through, because sometimes as they're adding new stuff, and they're always adding new stuff, things get kind of shifted a little bit on their website. So scroll around, see what they have to offer, and use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, yesterday's trivia answer. I said there were 14 no-hitters in Phillies history. 5 of them came against, or I should say 10 of them came against the same team. So they've no-hit the same team. 5 teams twice, I should say. And who were they? Well, they were the Braves were one of them. One of them happened when they were the Bean Eaters. So the Braves franchise, they no-hit the Cubs twice, the Reds twice, the Giants twice, and the final one that seemed to get everybody tripped up a little bit, the Expos/Nationals franchise was the other one. They did it one time against the Expos, Tommy Green, as we talked about yesterday, and then Michael Lorenzen did it against the Nationals. So those are the 5 teams that the Phillies have no-hit twice: the Braves, Cubs, Reds, Giants, and Nationals franchises. There will be another trivia question here in a minute. All right, so kind of 2 random events today on May 24th. First, we're going to go back to 1935, and on this day in 1935, the Phillies went out to Cincinnati and lost to the Reds 2-1. The score and the winner of this game is inconsequential, though, because the hype around this game overshadows it all. This was the first night game in Major League Baseball history. Now, night games were not something that was new. Minor league teams, a lot of the Negro League teams played at night in an effort to get more fans into the park and make money. But a lot of the Major League owners and the old school guys back then did not like the idea of playing at night. They thought the artificial light would be bad for the players' eyes and it wouldn't be as good of a product and all of this. However, as a lot of things happened during this time period, the Depression had an impact on everything, including Major League Baseball, and desperate times called for desperate measures. So the Reds, who were in financial dire straits and not getting a ton of people at the ballpark, said, why don't we try this night thing out? First pitch was scheduled for 9 p.m. in this game. It was kind of a chilly day, but FDR, President Roosevelt, from the White House, flipped the ceremonial switch that symbolized the electric current going from D.C. to Cincinnati, and the lights came on at Crosley Field shortly before 9 p.m. However, it did stick. As teams realized that they could get more people who work during the day to attend games, more and more teams started to have their games at night. The Cubs were the remaining holdouts. They did not have the lights in their first night game officially until 1988. However, that's a little deceiving because they were in the process in the mid-40s of doing it, but then when World War II broke out, they kind of shifted those resources and then just never went back to it. But on this day in 1935, Phillies and Reds played the first night game in Major League Baseball history, with the Reds winning 2-1 out of Crosley Field in Cincinnati. To a lot of pomp and circumstance. There was fireworks, bands playing. President Roosevelt was involved. Just a cool kind of atmosphere for the Phillies and Reds as night baseball became the norm in Major League Baseball. And then we're going to shift to 1980. And after being down 3-2, the Flyers were hot and looking to force a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs up in Long Island against the Islanders. With the game tied at 1 in the first period, Dwayne Sutter scored for the Islanders. However, it did appear, and if you're watching on any of my social media, you can see the replay here. But it did appear that Sutter, the whole thing was an offsides play. Flyers players stopped thinking that the play was offsides. However, the call was never made. Flyers would go on to tie the game at 2 and then once again at 4 before sending it into overtime, but they would lose 5-4. But the story was linesman Leon Stickle missing the offsides call, who Stickle after the game did admit that he missed the call. And even today, in today's NHL, it likely would have been reviewed and overturned, and the Flyers would have remained tied with the Islanders. And who knows how that changes the complexion of that game. I know the players, I don't know. Like, the Flyers could have gone up 2-1 instead of tying it at 2-2. So you see what happens. And everybody, this is the play that Stickle missed that everybody remembers. However, the overtime game winner was actually possibly offsides as well. You can see the replay there. It would have been likely been close enough to be reviewed in today's NHL, but nobody really talks about that because it was a more like a closer call. The original one on Sutter's goal was just blatant, and it was just missed, and Stickle missed it. He admitted that he missed it. So instead of forcing Game 7 back at the Spectrum, Flyers eliminated today, losing 5-4 in overtime to the New York Islanders. And so instead of having a shot to win their third Stanley Cup, they ended up being 2-2 in Stanley Cup finals, and they still remain cursed when it comes to Stanley Cups to this day. All right, finally, our Philly Sports Summer Playlist. The song of the day is My Part of Town by Tough Crew. It was released in 1988. Philly-based hip-hop crew. I'm sure you've heard this song before. It's one of those old-school 80 hip-hop songs that you love. It reached number 23 on the Billboard Hot Rap Singles. And again, I told you we're having something for everybody on this playlist, and who doesn't like a little bit of 80s hip-hop? I was listening to before I give you the bonus song, I was listening to the playlist yesterday while I was making pizza for dinner. Definitely an eclectic mix, but it's good. Like, it definitely is good. I'll share the Spotify list out on all my social media and everything once we finish adding all of our songs. But I like it. It's all over the place, but that's how I like to listen to my music. It's little of this, little of that, and spread it out. All right, so My Part of Town by Tough Crew is today's song of the day. Our bonus song, Crisscross Jump. And going back to the late 80s, early 90s hip-hop, we all like this song. The tie-in with Philly sports for this one is the fact that in the video, I forget which one of them is wearing an Eagles jacket. So there you go. And I'm going to do a little bit of something because it's a holiday weekend. We're going to give you a bonus song because you can't do Crisscross Jump without also including House of Pain Jump Around. Why not? Because those two songs always seem to be intertwined. Get the party jumping. You can have a conversation with your kids about early 90s hip-hop. I'm here for the children. You can educate everybody on this. And again, because it's a holiday weekend, I'm going to give you a bonus song because you can't have Crisscross Jump. You can't have House of Pain Jump Around without Van Halen's Jump. So we're going to add a little Van Halen to the playlist too, Jump. So there you go. 4 songs today to add to our playlist. Tough Crew, My Part of Town, a Philly-based hip-hop band. Got to get that 80s hip-hop vibe in there. And then we're going to add Crisscross Jump, House of Pain Jump Around, and Van Halen Jump to the playlist because it's a holiday. Let's add some music to this song. And by the way, if anybody wants it, the link to the Spotify sooner, I can share that out with you. And as I add songs, you'll get them. But there is your Philly Sports Playlist song of the day. And our trivia question for the day. We talked about the advent of night baseball and how it completely changed the game and kept it viable, allowing more people to see games and attend games. The Phillies played their first night game June 1st, 1939 at Shibe Park. Who was their opponent? A little bit of a tough one here. See if there's any baseball history buffs out there. But who was the Phillies' opponent in their first night game at home on June 1st, 1939? On this day in 1980, Flyers eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs, losing 5-4 to the Islanders on a controversial, maybe too controversial, offsides calls that were not called. The first one was blatant. The second one, not so much. But if the first one was called, maybe the second one didn't even happen. Flyers fans still get upset and fired up about this today, and rightfully so. And then in 1935, Phillies lose to the Reds 2-1 in the first ever Major League Baseball night game at Crosley Field in Cincinnati. We'll have more on the Phils and Union tomorrow. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on if the Phillies should explore bringing Rhys Hoskins back, and who was the Phillies' opponent on their first night game, June 1st, 1939. All of that, let me know. It's going to be a little bit of a chilly day, but excuse me, it doesn't look like the rain is going to be in the forecast this weekend. So go out, be safe, don't do anything stupid. And this has been This Day in Philly Sports History for May 24th, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.